Welcome to this mantra meditation on letting go of anger. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's really hard to talk about because anger can be really powerful in usually not so great ways, but it can also be used for great things. But normally our anger is more in control of us, and that's difficult because it doesn't stop. It's very fiery, right? It's very active, a lot more so than other emotions, which might be a little bit more laggard or slow to kind of act. Fire, anger, these things are very quick, very impulsive, spontaneous, combustible. These words, and so when we feel anger, it's really difficult to kind of take a step back and take a breath, and that's really what we need to do. To understand our anger, we need to also feel it, and we need to be able to recognize when it's coming up. And instead of trying to fix it while we're in it, because you can't really change an emotion once you're experiencing it, but when you're in it, you're stuck in it. When you're about to experience it, especially anger, an emotion, that is your opportunity to kind of like head it off or curve the explosiveness of it. So whether it's a trigger that you know, or it's a situation that's about to come up that you've seen the pattern over and over again, we need to be able to calm that down. And to do that, we chant to Shiva because Shiva is very peaceful. But Shiva, in a lot of the stories, has a little bit of we'll call it a temper. He can get very angry very quick because he doesn't want to arise. He wants to be at peace. He wants to be stable. He wants to meditate on his mountain, Mount Kailash. And yet, the world often awakens him. And so when these things happen, uh, he gets very fiery, very anger filled and fueled. And yet, when he uses that anger, he uses it in a way that is more or less beneficial or to a point. And once it's done, he lets it go. He doesn't hold on to it. And I think a lot of us hold on to our anger, and that makes it worse. It hurts us. It hurts us personally when we hold on to our anger. So let's move into our japa practice. We're going to chant Om Namah Shivaya. Okay. Find a comfortable seat. If you have a mala, you're welcome to use one. This mala in particular is a new one from Yantrikart, one of my new partners at Ashivana Yoga, and it is Rudraksha seeds. See if I can get you a close-up picture here. Look at this really big one here. Very beautiful. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to begin. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Let the mantra resonate. Feel that emptiness, that space of nothingness that Shiva evokes within us. And in this space, this is where we can release that anger that's within us. As it enters this space of vast emptiness, in every single direction the eye could see, it dissipates into nothingness. Anytime we feel anger arising, we can send it here. We can send it to this nothingness. Shiva's first wife, Sati, cast herself into a yajna, a fire ritual, fire sacrifice, because her father never accepted Shiva, and her father was a very wealthy man, and yet she married Shiva anyway, and the father never approved. And one day he held a big celebration, a fire sacrifice, the yajna. It's a big deal, big fire ritual. And he invited everyone that was anyone and everyone that was no one, except for Shiva. And Sati felt this was a dishonor to her husband, to herself, and she went there to express this to her father and ultimately cast herself into the fire itself, the fire sacrifice, because she was not, she was not allowed to have what her heart desired most, which was to be with Shiva. That's love. She didn't want to be, um, married into some kind of wealth or married for any other reason than love. It wasn't even about Shiva. It was about love. And when Shiva heard of this, who he didn't mind not being invited. It wasn't his kind of thing anyway, but he he didn't mind, and he even, I believe, asked Sati to not go, and yet she did, and this happens. And Shiva's wrath, when he heard this, was inconsolable. His anger at what had happened to his wife, the one that he loved as well. And so he transformed into Rudraksha or Rudra. Rudraksha is the seeds. Rudra, a very fierce, anger-filled warrior, and he went down there and slaughtered. I mean, it's very gruesome. It's he was so angry about it, and this is it's not that it was right or wrong. It was definitely not right, but neither was any of this situation, this whole story. And this love was torn from him, and I think we can all kind of relate to that. We've all had some kind of heartbreak. We've had some love torn from us in some manner, and we almost wish that we could, metaphorically, go on a rampage and just destroy to feel a little bit better when something so dear to us is ripped from us. And he killed um, Sati's father, of course, um, through a beheading of all things, right? Uh, this was symbolic of cutting out the arrogance. And the thing is after this, slaughter that Rudra went on, he returned back to Mount Kailash to meditate, and he stayed there for an immense amount of time. He wouldn't open his eyes. Shiva was just in pure meditation. He turned himself away from the world because the world had clearly turned itself away from him. And this was a tough time because Shiva represents the formlessness and that all-pervading energy behind all things. And so when that's at rest, when that's not in motion, the world kind of shuts down a little bit. The natural transformation and change stops happening. That's that dance that he performs through destruction and creation. The story continues on. It always does. And just like with our anger, we let that go because our story also continues on. So enough of this. Let's close out our practice. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Yantrikart for this beautiful mala to work with. We're going to just do a chant and close. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nishpapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Shanti.